First up is Richard Hiscocks. He's going to talk about some of the work that he's been doing over quite a period now in Aviva. And his theme is exactly that he's a leader and he understands this is something you cannot delegate. So, please welcome Richard Hiscocks.
My boss phoned me and said, we're going to do an intervention in household claims. Richard, I want you to come out of your job and lead the intervention. So I said, well, who's going to run the team? Well, I'm not doing it. He said, don't worry about that. Somebody else will run that. And I said, well, I don't want to do that. It's my team. I don't want to delegate that. And he said, that's fine. We'll get somebody else to do it. But that means you can't lead the team anymore, because I think it's really important that the person who leads the team leads the intervention and leads the change, which I thought was rubbish. But I learned that it wasn't rubbish at all. That's really what I want to talk about today.
Similar to Richard, one day my boss turned up, and I didn't really get on with him that well, but that was actually a really great decision he made. He said to me, Katharina, you're not running the team anymore. From tomorrow, you're going to run this intervention. A very similar reaction. I was interested in this methodology. I heard about it. I wanted to know more about it. I was like, but who's going to look after 1,500 people, if not me? Because clearly there was no one better there than me to do that job. But anyway, we worked it out. I came out of my job, and surprise, surprise, the normal operation did continue to run even without me there. And I started to get into that intervention. I put down here what motivates me and why I go to work. And I think that's also why I'm a big fan of the Vanguard Method, because it matches with what drives me. I like to work with people, and I like to learn and help them learn. And that's really integral to this method, and that's why it's fun to do it.
Leadership, I think, is a challenge. Obviously, right at the top of the organisation, we've been really lucky in Aviva. We've had senior people who are committed to this and giving us lots of room and space to experiment and do things. But leadership pervades the whole thing. It's about leaders being in the work, helping people and understanding. Not everybody wants to do that. And actually, you can't expect people to just go from one world where their job is performance management of the individual to another world which is working on the system without helping them. It works best when the leader leads the intervention. I've seen in Aviva lots of interventions where the leader gets one of their deputies to do this. Okay? I don't think we ever used our change people to do it, but sometimes I'm really busy. What I'll do is I'll pop in a day a week and I'll just check it's going okay. I don't think that works for two reasons. First of all, nobody's quite sure whether this is going to stay or go. Nobody's quite sure whether the leader's committed to this or not committed to this. And some of these changes are really fundamental. So if nobody's quite sure whether the leader's committed or not, they're not quite sure whether they kind of go with it. And because this is a change of thinking and a change of culture and a change of behaviour, that's really confusing for people. So they're saying, well, we'll wait and see. Yeah, we'll wait and see as to whether we change. Because don't forget, a lot of people have a vested interest in not changing. So that if the leader's there, then you're giving a subliminal message, and in my case, not quite so subliminal, to say, guys, this is coming, you might as well get your head around it. Okay, because I'm committed to doing it, and guess what? I'm going to be leading the system afterwards.
So what the Vanguard Method learned me is to really listen and learn from my colleagues. I've always been a leader that's been out on the floor. I did call listening, I talked to my people, but I didn't do it in a structured way. I always thought I had a pretty good grasp on what's happening, what's working, what's not working, but I never did it to that level of detail. So while this method isn't maybe industry standard yet, I truly believe that more and more organizations will go that way. I don't think there is anything out there that's comparable and then can solve the problems that all organizations have nowadays. And that is, how do I engage my colleagues? How do I deliver value for money? And how do I deliver a great customer experience? Maybe not in that order, but that's what the method does. And therefore, you all should try it if you haven't done it yet.